Hi, it's your girl Bustier again. And first thing first, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that now because you don't want to miss out on any of my tutorials anymore. And you can join me on Facebook on Sewing Innovations. This is a group where I put up illustrations on some questions asked about some outfit. And guess what? Today I'll be making a tutorial on how to cut a tube top or a strapless top. And in case you want to use the upper part as a yoke for another fabric, then you need to watch this video. Let's get started. So here I have both my front basic bodice pattern and my back basic bodice pattern. If you haven't watched my video on how to make a basic bodice pattern, I'll put the link in the description box below so that you can check it out. So let's start with the front pattern. So here you need to get your measurement right. I will have to stress that. So here is my shoulder line, the 3 inches, 8 inches standard, in which you later impute your shoulder measurement. This is the chest line, the bust point line, the under bust line, and the waist length line. So here I already inserted the measurement of my bust divided by 4 plus half an inch his. And also here I imputed my waist measurement, which is 36 divided by 4, which is 9 inches. So first we have to determine our bust span. Your bust span is also the distance between one nipple to the other nipple. Mine is 4.5. And if you are drafting directly on your fabric, add half on 1 inch sewing allowance. So here now I'll just mark out 4 inches starting from my bust point line, 4.5 inches all down. Remember, if you are drafting on your fabric directly, make sure you add half an inch or 1 inch seam allowance. So after doing that, I'll draw a straight line from the bust point down. So next we'll go to the shoulder line. So now on this slope, all you have to do is to measure from the nape of your neck down to the edge of your shoulder. Then here I'll measure mine, and I have 5 inches. So half of 5 inches is 2.5 inches. Then I will draw a straight line from here down to the bust point. Good. After doing this, then we impute our dart. So as I've explained before, you could use half an inch on both sides, you could use 1 inch on both sides, or even more, but I would advise you not to go more than 1 inch on both sides. So now I'll be using 1 inch on both sides here. 1 inch here, 1 inch here. Then on the under bust, because this is a tube top or a strapless top, the bust area being obvious is very, very important. So I will advise you to go in 1/4 inch deeper compared to the waist dart, because we want the bust to protrude in this type of top we want to make. So here I'll be going in 1/4 inch. So here I have 1/4, and also here I have 1/4. Can you see that? Because the reason for this is because we want the area of the bust to be more prominent. So after doing that, then we go to the midpoint line to map out our dart. First, you have to determine your bust radius. What is bust radius? Bust radius is just the distance from your bust point down to your under bust. That was why I stressed the fact that you have to get your measurement right. So now all we have to do is to measure from the bust point here down to my under bust line, and here I have 4 inches. It's as easy as that. So our bust radius here is what? Is 4.5. So in case you have a compass, you can just measure that with your compass and your pencil, and then from the bust point just draw a circle, and that will make it easier. But here, since we don't have that, since we have gotten our bust point radius, just measure that 4 inch up here. So that is 4 inch from your bust point line up the mid shoulder line. So after doing that, then we can insert our dart. For a tube top, you can go minimum of 1 inch, and you can do 1.5, especially if you are just making a tube top, you could do 1.5. But in this tutorial, I will just do 1 inch on each side. So here I have 1 inch, here I have 1 inch. If you want 1.5, 1/4, you can do that. So after this, we are almost through with our pattern. All we have to do is to connect the dots. So we start from here, connect from here down here, and then also here. If possible, you could come up 1/2 inch. And if you've watched my previous video, I always advise from the bust point to always come down by 1 inch, because this gives some ease around the bust area, and you don't have to worry if it's too tight or something. So now we'll also connect this line like this and this way, and also on the other side. Here. And guess what? We are done. So before moving to the upper part, I've always advised and have always stressed it, whatever measurement taken out from the dart, anywhere you have to put it back, because you only borrowed from here and you have to pay your debt here. So now initially I measured my waist measurement, which was 9. So now I took 1 inch from here, 1 inch from here, which is 2 inches, which I will now add to my measurement. Here I have 2 inches. If you are drafting directly on your fabric, note, add extra 1 inch. Then I move to the upper part here. Here I have 1 inch, 1 inch, which is 2 inches. And I will also return my dart here. And that is it. And remember, if you are drafting on your fabric, add extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. So having done that, let me just make a straight line. Good. So having done that, then I'll come to the upper part. Here you can decide any type of neckline you want for your tube top. You could draw a straight line, you could draw a sweetheart neck, or anyhow you want it. So here I will just make a simple sweetheart neck. And note, if you are using this as a yoke for another fabric, maybe you want to add a lace to it, you have to determine the depth of your neckline also. Having done that, then I'll just make a sweetheart neck, depending on how deep you want it to be. That is your choice. You could use your French cuff to do this. So can you see that? And here, if you are using this as a yoke for another fabric, you could just draw a straight line to meet the armhole here, because after cutting it out, you want the other fabric you join to meet up with the tube part of your cloth. But here, since it's just a tube top, I'll just take mine and just draw freehand sketching and then blend it up. And that is it. Can you see our tube top is formed? It's as easy as that. So now for the yoke part, you don't have to extend the dart to the upper part. So now if you want to cut the yoke, you have to fill up this line and then cut off the yoke. Note, the dart will only be cut out for the tube top. And remember, I stressed the fact that I advise to always come down by 1 inch here to ease the space around the bust. If you come down by 1 inch, it will be like this. Can you see? Here I came down by 1 inch, while here I didn't. I just mark it straight down to the bust point. it is optional, but I advise you to come down by 1 inch to ease the area about around the bust. So back to drafting. So because you don't want to have edges, you don't want to have pointed parts, so I'll take my French curve and then blend it up. Just blend it up, or you could use your free hand to do that. Blend the other side. Can you see? That part looks more beautiful now. And also here, just use your French curve to adjust those sides. Can you see it looks better? So now we'll cut out the upper part. And note, if you are cutting directly on your fabric, add half an inch sewing allowance. If you are drafting on your fabric, please add half an inch allowance before cutting off this yoke. And then when you now place this yoke on another fabric, you will add 1 inch. Why? Because you want to cover up for this half inch that you cut from here for the same allowance of the tube top, and then the remaining half inch will be for sewing allowance. Do not make that mistake. And also for the lower part, add half an inch seam allowance. So now we can cut out. So I'll cut out the armhole. The shoulder line, and then the neck. So first, let's open up the yoke. Can you see that? It's so easy. That is just it on the yoke. So now let's go back to the tube top. So here now, I'll start from the side. You are cutting on your fabric. Note, you have to add seam allowance. Then after doing that, then I'll cut out the dart. So that is the side panel. And then the middle panel. We are done. Let's open it up. Can you see that? And that is the tube top. Can you see? It's as easy as anything. So after taking in your dart here, then it matches up with the yoke. So that is just it on how to cut the front panel. And now for the back panel, it is the easiest, and I love this part so much. So haven't impute your dart here. It's so easy. Here I have my bust measurement divided by 4 plus half an inch, and here I have my waist measurement, which is 36 divided by 4, which is 9, plus 1 inch here, because I took half an inch here, and this is the measurement. So now for the back panel, all you have to do, I always advise, come down by half an inch or 1 inch, also from the chest line. So here you could have your tube top just straight this way. If possible, all you have to do is cut out here and cut out your dart, extend it this line up to this place. But I would advise, or depending on you, you just come down by 1 inch or half an inch. And note, if you are drafting on your fabric directly, your bust span here had half an inch or 1 inch. Don't forget, from here to here, mine is 4.5. If you are drafting on your fabric, it should be 5 inch or 5.5 inches. Don't forget that. And whatever you take from here, you add to this, which I've explained. So now all I have to do is come down by 1 inch. let me just do 1 inch. Okay, you could do 1.5 inch, you could do 2, you could just bring it straight down to like 1 inch up here. It depends on you. So just 1 inch here, and then I'll draw a straight line. If you want it to be slightly curved, you can do that. It's your pattern. So having doing that, then I will cut out, and that is it for the back panel. And don't forget, if you will have, definitely you would have a zip, you should have an extension of 1 inch for the zip allowance. Do not forget that. So let's do that. Can you see that? And if you had drafting on your fabric, 1/2 inch sewing allowance and 1 inch sewing allowance. And then we cut out the dots, and we are done. We are done. And don't forget, the zip part has to be opened. Don't forget your zip allowance. Do not forget your seam allowance. And then we are done. Can you see that? Can you see that? And that is it for the back panel. It's as easy as that. This is where the zip will be. And that is it, guys, on how to cut a strapless top or a tube top. Can you see it's so easy? And if my tutorial has been helpful to you, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share my video, and don't forget to join me on Facebook, Sewing Innovation. So catch you later.